A third spirit stood behind their hidden core, a mass of superconscience clothed in light, creator of things in his all-knowing sleep. His slumber is an almightiness in things. Awake, he is the eternal and supreme. Above was the brooding bliss of the infinite, its omniscient and omnipotent repose, its immobile silence, absolute and alone. He seemed the wideness of a boundless sky. He seemed the passion of a soulless earth. He seemed the burning of worldwide sun. To look upon each other, soul, soul, soul. Then, like an anthem from the heart's lucent gate, a voice soared up, whose magic sound could turn the poignant weeping of the earth to sobs of rapture, and her cry to spirit song. A smile came ripening out in her wide eyes. Then, with a smile august as noonday heaven, the Godhead of the vision wonderful. How shall earth's nature and man's nature rise to the celestial levels, yet earth abide? O flame, withdraw into thy luminous self, or else return to thy original night. On a sheer summit above thought and word, but Savitri answered to the radiant God, in vain thou temptest with solitary bliss, two spirits saved out of a suffering world. Since God has made earth, earth must make in her God. What hides within her breast, she must reveal. But the God answered to the woman's heart, O living power of the incarnate Word, arise upon a ladder of great words to the infinity where no word can be. Ascend, O soul, into thy timeless self. Choose destiny's curve and stamp thy will on them. In an ineffable world, she lived fulfilled, an energy of the triune infinite. In a measureless reality, she dwelt. Around her, some tremendous spirit lived, mysterious flame around a melting pearl, and in the phantom of abolished space there was a voice unheard by ears that cried, choose, Spirit, thy supreme choice not given again. Accept, O music weariness of notes, O stream wide breaking of thy channel banks, and silently the woman's heart replied, thy peace, O Lord, a boon within to keep, amid the roar and run of wild time, for the magnificent soul of man on earth. Limitless like ocean round a lonely isle, a second time the eternal cried arose. Wide open are the ineffable gates in front. Immeasurable, the woman's nature spoke. Thy oneness, Lord, in many approaching heart, a third time swelled the great admonishing chord. I spread abroad the refuge of my wings. The sob of things was answer to the voice, and passionately the woman's heart replied, thy energy, Lord, to seize on woman and man, to take all things and creatures in their grief and gather them into a mother's arms. Solemn and distant, like the last great time, the warning sound was heard. I opened the wide eye of solitude to uncover the voidless structure of my bliss. Then all the woman yearningly replied, thy embrace, which rends the living knot of pain, thy joy, O Lord, in which all creatures breathe, thy magic flowing waters of deep love, thy sweetness give to me, to earth and man.
Hey, good morning. So we're reading in Book 11, the Book of Everlasting Day. We've come to page 696, about 10 lines down. So we're about in the middle of this reading that we've just heard Mother giving. We've heard this many times over the last over the last month or so. Savitri has entered into the heavens of the supramental consciousness, and she's encountered there a supreme being, the supreme being, and she's conversing with him, and he has been telling her to ascend into this world, this supramental heaven with Satyavan and leave the earth behind, that the earth is following its own curve of destiny, and it will take time for the divine efflorescence, the divine consummation of the earth to take place. But she need not wait. She can ascend into this heaven and leave the earth behind. And she has refused this call. And then he said, okay, if you refuse, then you ascend into this timeless realm above the world, into this transcendent, and from there you can stamp your will on time and change that curve of destiny of the world. So, let's see. Where he said that. So that was at the bottom of 694. He said, 3 lines from the bottom. If thou must indeed deliver man and earth, on the spiritual heights look down on life. Discover the truth of God and man and world. Then do thy task, knowing and seeing all. Ascend, O soul, into thy timeless self. Choose destiny's curve and stamp thy will on time. So he's suggesting that she can indeed change that curve of destiny of the world, hasten its development. And then she ascends into that realm. And the last time we kind of finished reading the bottom of 695 and the beginning of 696, but we didn't comment on it. So I'll just reread that. All things she knew, all things imagined or willed. Her ear was opened to ideal sound. Shaped the convention, bound no more her sight. 1,000 doors of oneness was her heart. A crypt and sanctuary of brooding light appeared, the last recess of things beyond. Then in its rounds the enormous fiat paused. Silence gave back to the unknowable all it had given. Still was her listening thought. The form of things had ceased within her soul. Invisible, that perfect Godhead now. Around her some tremendous spirit lived, mysterious flame around a melting pearl. And in the phantom of abolished space, there was a voice unheard by ears that cried, choose, Spirit, thy supreme choice not given again. For now from my highest being looks at thee, the nameless, formless peace where all things rest. So she has ascended into that transcendent realm, and she hears a voice within which asks her to choose. And then he's emphasizing here, he's kind of giving her the choice to enter into this peace, into this quietude. So he's still not really giving her what she is asking for Satchivan's soul to return to earth. But he's again saying, come, I'm giving you a choice, enter now into this peace. So let's continue his statement here. And Snigdha, you could read.
The nameless, formless peace where all things rest. Distinction in eternity, a point that disappears in the infinite, felicity of the extinguished flame, last sinking of a wave in a boundless sea, end of the trouble of thy wandering thoughts, close of the journeying of thy pilgrim soul. Accept, O music, weariness of thy notes, O stream, wide breaking of thy channel banks. The moments fell into eternity, but someone yearned within the bosom unknown, and silently the woman's heart replied, Thy peace, O Lord, a boon within to keep, amid the roar and ruin of wild time, for the magnificent soul of man on earth. Thy calm, O Lord, that bears thy hands of joy, limitless like ocean round a lonely isle. A second time the eternal cry arose. Wide open are the ineffable gates in front. My spirit leans down to break the knot of earth, a morris of oneness without thought or sign, to cast down wall and fence, to strip heaven bare, see with the large eye of infinity, unweave the stars and into silence pass.
Thank you. Let's pause. So the being first invites Savitri to enter into his nameless, formless peace where all things rest. A sublime cessation and immense extinction in eternity. A point that disappears in the infinite. Felicity of the extinguished flame. So there is this unutterable peace in which she can enter and cease from existence, from movement.
So this is an order. No sublime cessation. You have lost.
Yeah, in order, it's an invitation. He's offering her this choice. Accept. Only one time I'm giving you this choice. Accept to enter into this peace, this silence, this extinction in eternity. It's not an absolute emptiness, I think, because there's a felicity there, there's a happiness, felicity of the extinguished flame. But it's an absolute peace and quietude. And then Savitri replies, not for herself. She doesn't want this peace only for herself and to enter into that and disappear into it. She says, thy peace, O Lord, a boon within to keep amid the roar and ruin of wild time, for the magnificent soul of man on earth. Thy calm, O Lord, that bears thy hands of joy. So she says, yes, I want this peace. I want your peace, but I want it for mankind as a ground, a basis in which humanity can stand and be able to withstand and enjoy the movement, not only the movement, the roar and ruin of wild time. And that a calm that bears thy hands of joy, the divine delight is so intense, so wonderful, that it needs actually that calm, silent peace as a basis for it, to hold that. And then the voice comes a second time. Wide open are the ineffable gates in front. My spirit leans down to break the knot of earth, amorous of oneness, without thought or sign, to cast down wall and fence, to strip heaven bare. See with the large eye of infinity, unweave the stars and into silence pass. So now he is offering her oneness. Casting down all barriers, all demarcations in the multitude of things, in the many, to just experience that underlying oneness of all things, to enter into that, leaving behind all separateness, all individuality. And then we can continue.
What is the intention?
Yeah, unweave the stars. I suppose it means something like the movement of the stars, perhaps also suggesting The stars are the significant of the movements of our fate, astrologically perhaps. So unloosen all of that movement of time, and perhaps also we could say the stars are individual points of light. They're separate, but they're combined in combinations in the constellations. But he's suggesting to unloosen all of that movement, that thread of movement of the world, and enter into oneness.
I feel that the first one was like individual emotion, and this is almost like destructive. Like,
well, the
what he says, he creates an offer, split heaven to earth, and leave the stars. It's almost like you still care so much about everyone, but everyone works. But the next line says, in an mentioned word is transformed, she heard a meaning which is right. So you don't have that. I'm not sure, but it's almost like there's an offer when you read the word.
yeah, there's 4 times he speaks. And first he offers peace, then he offers oneness. Later he's going to offer force, power, but power held back within, not in movement. And then he is going to offer bliss, delight, but also a kind of a peaceful delight, again, kind of held back into calmness and peace. And together, they all suggest to me something of Satchidananda. Just kind of a pure, bare existence in which there's only oneness, there's only that. Infinite oneness, infinite peace, infinite awareness, infinite delight, but a very quiet delight looking down on all things, separate from the manifestation, let's say.
But you don't want to call that.
No? Why?
Everything. It's not the oneness that is abstract.
Not all sure with the respect. Chidananda is a unity. It's in the supermind.
Yes, but everything is there. There's no separation. But if you try that separation, then you have to read in the secret of the Veda, where we talk about the Satchidananda. Satchidananda is everything. So she is going for Satchidananda. The spirit is calling her to something different, because she's going to do Satchidananda, not reject it.
Okay, so for those outside who cannot hear B, so B is saying the Satchidananda is inclusive of the world. It's not something separate. So there's perhaps a long discussion about this.
This is your next book.
Oh, okay. If we look at Sri Aurobindo's symbol, we have kind of Satchidananda, mind, life, and matter, and the supermind in between joining them. So they are joined, but they're joined in supermind. But there is certainly an experience of entering into a kind of a peace which the being is inviting her into, and to extinguish her separate self. Okay, so he's kind of said it pretty explicitly. So at least that's a possible experience, that one can enter into some kind of state. It's a state of oneness, and it's a state of absolute infinity.
Right. We don't want to deny at all the completeness of the absolute.
No.
As you mentioned, the zero symbol, you know what's in the middle of it? Don't you?
The lotus.
Lotus.
Yeah.
Okay. For the lotus, you know what that means.
So the lotus is the avatar, no?
Well, not only avatar, but it also means the mud and the manifestation.
Mm.
So the ascending triangle and the descending triangle meet in the perfect square.
Right.
So the absolute balance of
Right.
Square is a new creation. Clearly, in the description of the symbol, the central square is creation. The supramental creation.
Okay, but why do you want to exclude that from Dr. Duman? Well, no, he was saying.
But, okay, let's just say Savitri is arguing exactly this, right? He's saying, end of the trouble of thy wandering thoughts, enter into this peace. And she says, yes, I want your peace, but to keep amid the roar and ruin of wild time. I want that peace of Satchidananda or whatever, but I want to hold that within the manifestation, among the diversity of existence, among the movement of time, as a basis underlying all of this, right? So you're right and you're right. in a way, it's right. You can hold that, you can have that oneness, that peace of Satchidananda, and you can have it as she's asking for it within the movement of the world.
It's the unified energy.
Right.
That's why I want to.
But he's kind of saying, oh, ascend above the world, leave the world. So that's something else, right?
That's not such.
Okay, that's not such. Mm. 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 Okay. So Nitya is saying that you can experience Satchidananda in all of the different planes. Okay. So we can experience up above, or we can experience it here in the world. And that's kind of what Savitri is arguing here.
In lower place also mental, mind, physical medicine, and we can bring it one. But that's a clear observation must be there. Nobody else is physically and invite divine to come physically. So that's also true that in the lower place we are thinking that the chance of confusion. It's very, very difficult to do this purification, required purification in the lower place.
Mm.
That's why mother is telling that we are not receptive enough, or we are not pure enough to receive the Supreme.
Mm.
And that's the reason mother is saying you have to be the body. You know what we are first evaluating. We have to be pure to be the body.
Okay. So we can experience it, but we have to go through some purification of our being before that's possible.
Yeah.
So so at the end of this being's statement here, he says, unweave the stars and into silence pass. And now B, you continue.
In an immense and world-destroying pause, she heard 1,000,000 creatures cry to her. Through the tremendous stillness of her thoughts, immeasurably the woman's nature spoke. Thy oneness, Lord, in many approaching hearts, my sweet infinity of thy numberless souls. Mightily retreating like a sea in ebb, a third time swelled the great admonishing call. I spread abroad the refuge of my wings. Out of its incommunicable deeps, my power looks forth of mightiest splendor, stilled into the majesty of sleep, withdrawn above the dreadful whirlings of the world. A sob of things was the answer to the voice, and passionately the woman's heart replied, Thy energy, Lord, to seize on woman and man, to take all things and creatures in their grief and gather them into a mother's arms.
Thank you. Let's pause there. So he has offered her oneness, a breaking down of all the walls that divide things. And then she heard 1,000,000 creatures cry to her. And then she spoke, asking, Thy oneness, Lord, in many approaching hearts, my sweet infinity of thy numberless souls. So she wants that oneness, but embracing all of those numberless souls within it, not leaving them behind, not up above, but embracing all the many souls. And then a third time, the voice speaks. Out of its incommunicable deeps, my power looks forth of mightiest splendor, stilled into its majesty of sleep, withdrawn above the dreadful whirlings of the world. So now he's offering his power, but his power withheld within itself above the whirlings of the world. And she replies, no, I don't want that transcendent power that's above the worlds. Thy energy, Lord, to seize on woman and man, to take all things and creatures in their grief and gather them into a mother's arms. She wants to use that power, extend that power to the world, rather than entering into that state where it's withdrawn above the world. So let's continue, Anandi. Okay, 1 second, Anandi, we have a question.
She had a many teachers trying to learn, and then always the sort of speech was answered individually. So she received something from the many souls in the creation of that. And that is something which is seems is unique. It is not the law. Not receives the law. Can you explain?
Well, her mission is to bridge this divide between this transcendent above and the world below. And the world below, including all of these numberless souls who live in sorrow and grief here in this world. She is that square in Sri Aurobindo's symbol, or the lotus at the center. She is going to join these two. She wants that peace, that oneness, that power, but she wants to unite it with the many of the world below. So she goes into that transcendent realm, but still she hears the voices of the world below and the pain and suffering of the world. And she wants to unite these. She wants that peace. She wants that power, but she wants it for the world, not to enter into it.
But there are several things. Not the first time I see that. It says inanimate and the world is composed. So in this discussion, from time to time, we seems to show that it has an enormous and cosmic upheaval in consequences. It's not the first time we have what they say the power and fall that children from spheres. Like I think this discussion has been enormous impact.
Okay, that may be. So you're suggesting that it's affecting this world below, this conversation or this joining of Savitri and this being above.
read one. It's always like this thing, whether it's sexual or something. The choices can affect the overall. Not
Yeah, because she's, in a way, she's saying, she's refusing to enter into that transcendent. And so she's demanding it to affect the world, bring it down into the world. So that's having perhaps some shaking of the foundations of the world below, because she's calling that force, that peace, everything down.
Yes. The impression I have is that it's not only that, it's their very discussion.
They're just.
Self is has movement and was with but in the world destroying walls, right? And where we should be fear and somewhere else. So I think the very discussion itself has this kind of impact. And what you say.
Okay, so the discussion itself. But actually, I take it in a somewhat different way. Your interpretation may be perfectly valid, that their discussion is having this profound effect on the earth. But I take it as he's offering this kind of pause in existence, this kind of transcendent state. And when you can enter into that state, the world itself disappears from your experience. So I think there is a state of nirvana, or let's say that the Buddha advocates, or that the state of oneness that the Vedantists, and it has an effect where one can actually lose complete consciousness of the world. One leaves it behind.
That is possible to supramental as well impact to come and change the world. So you want to take the place where you cannot come return back.
Yeah, they talk about a place where you can ascend into and cannot return or something. So, but I don't know. I mean, that's one possible meaning, but your meaning that it's having this profound effect on the earth is also a very possible interpretation of this.
Who can accept? Who accept? Give to the world, he changed. Here she is using. But there seems to be a line that if she assented, or she said, yes, I accept this peace beyond the world, it may have a consequence of the earth.
Yeah, that is also possible.
So she doesn't choose, she always wants to bring it down.
That ascent also may have an effect. I don't know. Sri Aurobindo speaks of these sages meditating in the Himalayas who might be having these, profound effects on the earth. Yeah.
She doesn't want to leave the creation of she is the mother of.
Right. So this is the mother, and she is not leaving the earth behind. She's not going to ascend and leave the earth. Good question. Is there only one earth? No, I don't think there's maybe just one earth. But there's, I don't know, there's this physical plane of the earth, but there are representations of this earth on all the other planes as well. But there, in each of those other planes, the earth is somewhat different than it is here.
I think there are also some planets like the Earth. But the Earth has a special the Earth has a special quest to do the transformation on this planet, on the Earth planet. That's a special challenge of the Earth. special task. Every planet has a task. There's other tasks, other planets.
And I think they are settling but that's legally different. It's not only this continuous progress is possible with this.
Let's not go off too far into discussions here. We stick a little bit more closely to what we're reading in the text, because we can speculate about all of these other philosophical issues forever. Right? So let's stay a little bit closer to what's here. So let's continue.
Breaking the silence.
Wait, just I'm at solemn and distant.
Yeah, break it.
Solemn and distant like a seraph's lyre. Suresh? I'm telling you where it is, halfway down the page.
Solemn and distant like a seraph's lyre. A last great time the warning sound was heard. I opened the wide eye of solitude to uncover the voiceless rapture of my bliss, wherein a pure and exquisite hush lies, motionless in its slumber of ecstasy, resting from the sweet madness of the dance, out of whose beat the throb of hearts was born, breaking the silence with appeal and cry, a hymn of adoration, tireless climb, a music beat of winged unity in souls. Then all the women yearning reply, thy embrace which rends the living knot of pain, thy joy, O Lord, in which all creatures breathe, thy magic flowing waters of deep love, thy sweetness given to me for earth and men.
Continue.
Okay.
A little bit more.
So, okay. Then after silence, a still blissful cry began, such as rose of the infinite, when the first whispering of strange delight imagined in its deep the joy to seek, the passion to discover and to touch, the enamored love which drive the chanting words.
Okay, let's stop there. Okay, we'll stop. I think I made a mistake. Okay. So we see that the fourth time this being speaks, he offers this voiceless rapture of my bliss, where in a pure and exquisite hush it lies, motionless in its slumber of ecstasy, resting from the sweet madness of the dance, out of whose beat the throb of hearts was born. So he's offering this delight of existence. But again, it's a delight that's in a pure and exquisite hush. It's a deep peace, a very deep and quiet happiness. But it's not that sweet madness of the dance of life in the world. It's resting from that. but set back in that quietude, in that oneness, in that peace, in that quiet power. But Savitri says, no, I don't want to enter into this quiet delight underlying all existence. I want thy joy, O Lord, in which all creatures breathe, the magic flowing waters of deep love. Thy sweetness give to me for earth and men. She wants to bring that delight of the divine down into the lives of human beings, into the earth. And then, after a silence, a still, blissful cry began, such as arose from the infinite when the first whisperings of a strange delight imagined in its sleep the joy to seek, the passion to discover and to touch, the enamored laugh which rhymed the chanting worlds. In the beginning of existence, before the world was born, created, there was this joy that flowed out from the solitude, the quietness of the oneness. And it imagined in its deep the joy to seek. It leaned out into the existence of the infinite multitude, the passion to discover and to touch, the enamored laugh which rhymed the chanting worlds.
The creation was destroyed, separated and stuff. But originally was this once
So originally it arose out of this delight of creation, of possibility, this joy to discover. But as you say, something perhaps intervened, and in any case, there was a kind of a fall, a break from that oneness and delight, and it turned into something of its opposite. So now the being speaks. And Margaret, you can continue. A seraph is what, like an angel, I think, kind of a being of heaven. So it's like one of these beings of the higher worlds that's playing this musical instrument. So it sounds like that.
And the laughter is a part of the sadhana that you did with the record of yoga. Asian is part of this subtle.
Okay, so this laughter, he speaks of a kind of a type of ananda that's like a laughter. So it's one type of the ananda. There are various types of joy, of delight. This kind of hearty laughter is one of those. Okay, So something like maybe perhaps that he's referring to. Okay?
O beautiful body of the incarnate word, thy thoughts are mine. I have spoken with thy voice. My will is thine. What thou hast chosen, I choose. All thou hast asked, I gave to earth and men. All shall be written out in destiny's book. By my trustee of thought and plan and act, the executor of my will, eternal time. But since thou hast refused my nameless calm, and turned from my termless peace in which is expunged the visage of space, and the shape of time is lost, and from happy extinction of thy separate self in my uncompanioned lone eternity. For not for thee, the nameless, wordless naught, annihilation of thy living soul, and the end of thought and hope and life and love in the blank measureless unknowable. I lay my hands upon thy soul of flame. I lay my hands upon thy heart of love. I yoke thee to my power of work in time.
Thank you. Let's pause there. So there's some beautiful points which are expressed here. First, he addresses Savitri as the beautiful body of the incarnate Word. We hear of this word a number of times in Savitri, and it suggests, I think, the expression of the divine truth, the outer expression of it. It can be also in specific words, but in a more general sense, any kind of manifestation of the divine. But it's expressed specifically in words, in ideas and thoughts, such as we have in Savitri, and that truth can express itself through the spoken or written word. And Savitri has been expressing some of these words which reveal something of the truth of the divine, that this transcendent reality above the manifestation can be linked, joined with the manifestation. And that's, in a sense, the word that Sri Aurobindo is expressing in this poem.
Here, because he speaks, thy thoughts are mine. And so when he spoke in the dialogue, how do you see it? This thing. That he sees also Savitri's point. That's the discussion of to see the relation.
Yeah, he's saying he lives in a oneness of knowledge which embraces Savitri. So he's saying, I have spoken also through your voice. I'm not opposed to you. I'm not separate. So you are expressing my own will. Yeah, he's expressing two different sides. He was expressing one through the words of this Supreme Being, and he was expressing through Savitri. And their dialogue, he's expressing. Yeah, that's an interesting perspective, that these two different voices are the being and the Shakti, the Ishwara and the Ishwari. But both are expressive of the divine truth.
But I don't understand you say, but since thou hast refused my name is God, and then what happens?
Okay, so, and he expresses quite, I think, explicitly here what Savitri has refused. So I think that's important too. His nameless calm, his kind of undiminished, unmarred, this absolute calm. So she's refused to enter into that and turned from my termless peace, in which is expunged, which eliminates completely the visage of space and the shape of time. So in that absolute silence and calm, even the world, time and space is expunged, is extinguished. One just lives in this other kind of realm or state. From happy extinction of thy separate self, in my uncompanioned, lone eternity. For not for thee the nameless, worldless naught, this worldless emptiness, in which there is no world, no life, no multiplicity of beings. Annihilation of thy living soul, and the end of thought and hope and life and love. All of these can be left behind in the blank, measureless, unknowable. Blank, measureless, unknowable. She's refused that. So now that you have refused, I lay my hands upon thy soul of flame. I lay my hands upon thy heart of love, and I yoke thee to my power of work in time. So he's going to elaborate what he's going to do now with Savitri. But he's going to lay his hands upon her, and she will be his instrument for the transformation of the world.
Just about the previous conversation about the two voices. I think one of your messages in Savitri,
Mm.
and throughout the writings, there is that one thing of the highest one ascending into the car. So there is always a choice for an ascending soul to emerge or fall down.
Uh-huh.
And the previous, I think also when Savitri has the peace and then it says, but now in the sensation, all that. There's always this choice and this moment, and also sure, which is very nice that one which one can ascend into the body. But somehow Savitri has chosen this other path.
Right.
But the choice was there, but that she chooses to bring down the divine. So there is always a choice, perhaps. So it's the same thing.
So, yeah. So you're saying that each soul has a choice to ascend into that transcendent or to remain tied to the world to bring that transcendent peace and joy and love down into the world. To remain, united with the world, with life. So we each have that choice. And I think, as you suggest, in the past spirituality in India, there's been kind of this tendency to choose that ascension into that nameless peace. Yeah. So there has been at least that choice that many souls perhaps have taken. Margaret.
To the two lines, and from every extinction of a separate self to understand the divine. And in my uncompanion Lord eternity. And he chooses to connect. So I lay my hands upon that soul of flame. What do you say? Why?
No, so she's refused that. She's refused to ascend into his uncompanioned lone eternity. And therefore, I lay my hands. Understand?
No.
Why not?
No, because the construction of the sentence I don't understand. But since thou hast refused my nameless time.
Right, and it continues.
And from happy extinction of thy.
So it continues. You've refused my nameless calm. You've refused turning. And you refused my termless space. You've refused all of these things. Annihilation of thy living soul. You've refused the end of thought and hope. I'm explaining the construction of the sentence. You've refused X, Y, and Z. Therefore, I lay my hands upon thy soul of flame.
Yes.
So that's the sentence.
Since you refuse and from happy extinction.
Yeah, this I don't.
Since thou hast refused happy extinction of the separate self, just remove all the negative words.
What?
No, so because you've refused X, Y, and Z, therefore I lay my hands upon thy soul of flame. So that's the construction. Okay, so you've refused my nameless calm and turned from my termless peace, in which is expunged the visage of space and the shape of time is lost. And in which is expunged the visage of time. No, the visage of space. And the shape of time is lost. And you've also refused happy extinction of thy separates.
Okay, I understand. But the sentence ends from
The sentence is a long sentence of poetry. It's poetry. It's not prose, it's poetry. Okay.
But also the extinction is happy because you are sending in degrees. So that's the whole point. It's not
Snigdha.
Is it the case that then, because Savitri's desire was to merge through creation rather than destruction, and because creation is fundamentally an exchange like of Shiva and Shakti, that union is that happiness, and because Savitri chose merging with creation, that's why it's like the merger of both creation and destruction, which is what leads to a new timeline.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, she chooses the creation, the world. She doesn't want to leave it behind. And that world now has these all kinds of various elements in it: destruction, creation, life and death, pain and joy and suffering. All of these things are there in the world. But she's not leaving that behind. She wants to transmute that. She wants that peace, that delight, that oneness, to bring that down, unify it or harmonize it with this mixed up world.
Yes, that extinction is not having that duality, but Savitri chose to have the duality but fuse it, which is that fusion which creates the new world, and that fusion is the cause of happiness because it's the union.
Yeah, something like that. I think you're right. Because of that union with those transcendent qualities, with the power of the divine, with his joy, with his delight, because that gets united with the world below, it gets transformed. Yeah. She's...
There are two main people going on, two main arguments. One is the Satwan, other is Savitri. So here, Savitri is the main role, and she is fighting with the death. And the death is thinking that in India, we are the ultimate path of moksha, moksha, nirvana, whatever he believed finally, according to Savitri. Yeah. But Savitri is not accepting all those things. She has refused one by one, respectively. Then only once I found that, you can say he has checked finally, so many tests he had done, and then finally found that she don't want anything, she don't have any desire or anything to connect this moksha. She wants the word, and she's ready to face the pain, whatever. She wants to transform her. So he can make mind someone who has now, and accepting you and continue my you will be whatever blessings we can.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So you've summarized basically the thing. So we're going to stop there today.
A third spirit stood behind their hidden core. A mass of a conscience clothed in light, creator of things in his all-knowing sleep. His slumber is an almightiness in sin. Awake, he is the eternal and supreme. Above was the brooding bliss of the infinite. Its omniscient and omnipotent repose, its immobile silence, absolute and alone. He seemed the wideness of a boundless sky. He seemed the passion of a sorrowless earth. He seemed the burning of worldwide sun. To look upon each other, soul, soul, soul. Then, like an anthem from the heart's lucent gate, a voice soared up, whose magic sound could turn the poignant weeping of the earth to sobs of rapture, and her cry to spirit song. A smile came ripening out in her wide eyes. Then, with a smile august as noonday heaven, the Godhead of the vision wonderful. How shall earth's nature and man's nature rise to the celestial levels, yet earth abide? O flame, withdraw into thy luminous self, or else return to thy original night. On a seer summit above thought and word, but Savitri answered to the radiant God, in vain thou temptest with solitary bliss two spirits saved out of a suffering world. Since God has made earth, earth must make in her God. What hides within her breast, she must reveal. But the God answered to the woman's heart, O living power of the incarnate Word, arise upon a ladder of great words to the infinity where no world can be. Ascend, O soul into thy timeless self. Choose destiny's curve and stamp thy will on them. In an ineffable world, she lived fulfilled, an energy of the triune infinite. In a measureless reality, she dwelt. Around her, some tremendous spirit lived, mysterious flame around a melting pearl, and in the phantom of abolished space, there
Thanks to Sri Aurobindo.